Hi, good morning, and welcome to the Mind Power Paradigm with Ellie and
Natalie and you.
and welcome back, everybody, to our Friday morning chats. And Natalie and I have a pretty interesting, well, I think it's a very interesting topic: cancel, cancel, cancel. And our topic for today is the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. All right, thoughts on that, Natalie?
I love this topic, Ellie, because, going into 2024, we have to reflect on what 2023 gave us, right? Whether it be in your relationships, your health, or your business. And I always say, own your choices, own your life. So if you want the same outcome in 2024, then continue to do what you've always done, right? But if you don't want the same outcome, we have to become aware of our current reality and what habits that we need to change, right? So they say how we do one thing is how we do everything, or how we do most things is how we do most things, right? So that being said, I thought that was a great topic for today for us to talk about because it hits so many different areas in people's lives, right? So for instance, I was listening to a recording once that had said, if you're, a CEO of a company, or you're the hiring person, director of a company, go out and check that person's car before you hire them. And here's why: because a car will tell a lot about a person, right? So I'm not talking about the model of the car. I'm talking about going and looking at the person's car. If there is their takeout containers still in there, cups chucked on the floor, it's a disaster, right? It's like a bomb waiting to go off. That will tell you a lot about how that person is going to perform if you hire them for the position, right? Because their life is unorganized. They don't take pride in their vehicle, which maybe they won't take pride in their work. They're unorganized, so their work is going to be unorganized, right? So it's how they do one thing, how they treat their vehicle is how most likely they do all things, and that's how their work is going to be performed, right? So I thought that was so interesting. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. It's the way we do one thing, just like we're the captain of the ship. This is where, leadership starts with us. That's a little bit of a tangent. Only when things around us are not working, we have to go back and look here. I remember the old saying, point one finger there, and you got what, four fingers pointing back at you. So that is also the same with the way that we do everything. If we have excuses about, let's say that we declare, okay, today is going to be the day that I get up and start working. Like, you get up every single day, consistently work out, and you kind of remind me of a David Goggins, like, okay, I'm just going to go do this. All right. I'm not going to worry about my body. I'm not going to worry about all the things that I have. I'm not going to worry about how I feel about it. I'm going to do it because I made a commitment. I gave my word to myself. I'm honoring my personal integrity. And so you go to the gym and you do it. Other people negotiate with themselves. That's what we were talking about. And we said it so beautifully. Oh, today's not the day. I'm not feeling it. Well, dang, we're never going to feel like doing certain things. And if we're running a business or we want to eat healthy, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. We've got to consistently show up. We've got to clean our house. We've got to clean our car. We have to clean our mind.
Right. And if that's what you want, if you want the outcome to be different in 2024, then yeah, we have to start looking at the four fingers pointing back at us, right? Because it starts within. Another great example of this is that, about a couple of weeks ago, I took the kids to the bus stop without a cell phone. My cell phone is attached to my hip, which allows me, or doesn't allow me, to be present in those moments, right? So I remembered, like, holding my children's hands as we were walking down to the bus stop. There was no distractions. We were able to look at the birds and the turkeys walking across the road, right? And that moment stopped me to say, like, wow, I'm never going to get this moment back with my children, right? Like, they're going to grow old. They're not going to want to hold my hand. We're not going to be looking at turkeys and thinking they're great. And from that moment on, I decided I'm never going to bring the phone to the bus stop again.
Oh,
Because
beautiful.
I wanted to have those moments with my children and be present and aware, right? But guess what happened, Ellie? how you do one thing is how you do all things. So it just started to bring that practice into other areas of my life. When I sit down at the dinner table, I'm actually having conversation with my family instead of answering emails on my cell phone. I'm practicing being more present. When I'm on a Zoom meeting or I'm mentoring somebody one-to-one through their health program or another coach, guess what? I don't have my cell phone where I can get distracted if a text comes through. I'm being present to that person that I scheduled that meeting with. So that one moment that stopped me in my tracks, how I did that one thing moving forward actually trickled into the rest of my life and allowing more present moments throughout my day.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's really beautiful. And it's such an aha moment. And which brings me to another thought along these lines, which is when we remember we spoke about honoring our personal integrity, and this is honoring our word to ourselves. And once we start to honor our personal integrity, okay, I'm going to be mindful. I am not going to, have a messy car, or I'm not going to take my phone with me and sit there at dinner when when I want to be present with my family.
Right.
Well, that is honoring, and then you do it. You're honoring your personal integrity. And then it is as if the world opens up and things happen that people can describe as miracles, miraculous, unusual phenomena, but stuff happens when we honor our word to ourselves. Our world really changes.
Yeah, it miraculously changes, right? And it all starts with your mind. It's all that mind power, and it's just making that decision to change those neural pathways, those habits that haven't served you, and how do you change them, right? So another great example, I think, even for many of my clients in the health and wellness industry, is that most come to me with failing in the past, or not finishing out a program, or not finishing out the 2 weeks, the infamous 2 weeks in the gym and New Year's and everyone's back home, right?
Yeah,
So what I'm saying is that most likely if I have those conversations with my clients, I ask them, other questions like, hey, how often do you finish a song? How often do you finish a project in your home? How often do you finish, a project at work or a new endeavor?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if they reflect back on that, they're like, wow, that's a great question, Natalie, because guess what? Like, I'm infamous for not finishing things.
Yeah.
So how they do one thing is how they do all things, right?
That's
and
right.
that's where we can start to change. So, Ellie, what would you say to somebody who's walking into 2024 and they're like, I'm ready to stop not finishing things. I'm ready to start being present. I'm ready to get my life organized and not leave bags of food on my car floor, right? What would you say to that person?
First thing that comes to mind is what I call and we may have talked about this before, the integrity checklist. All right. So set up your morning or the night before with, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to control my mind. I'm going to do these things. Example, if you're a kind of person who comes home and you throw your coat all over the place and then you don't put your coat into the closet, what if you committed to putting your coat into the closet the moment that you come home? You take that 5 seconds, that's all that it is, and you understand. So commit to something, commit to a small change. If it's something that going to the gym is too big for a person at this moment in time, commit to something else. Commit to eating regularly at the certain times, or eating healthy. Commit to a small thing. Begin with the baby step right now, and then, just as you did, leave the phone home and then watch how this expands. That's where I'd start. You got to start small.
That's it. I love that. And, that brings me back to another time where I actually had read one of Mel Robbins' books, and I'm not going to quote it right this second because there's so many of her work that I've gone through. But, she had a great principle that she was teaching, and it reminds me of exactly what you just said, right? So where do I start? Like, this just seems so monumentous, right? Like monumental. So it's too big. In my mind, I get anxiety and I'm not going to do it. So no, you are going to do it. But she explained it as, think of it as Lego blocks, blocks. Like, let's go real elementary for a minute,
Mm-hmm,
right? Think
mm-hmm.
about all these different building blocks or Lego blocks. So let's just say, somebody had a goal of, I don't know, opening a business, let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So their first building block wouldn't be to, you know, go look at locations. Their first building block would be, let me decide what the business is going to be. Who is my target audience,
Mm-hmm,
right? What are the
mm-hmm.
problems that I'm going to help solve? What are the solutions? Then going to maybe speak to other entrepreneurs of their greatest tips, right? So it's small little building blocks, right? Or if you fear going to the doctor, and you need to make this appointment. Like, the first thing wouldn't be just to jump to making the appointment. The first thing would be to research a doctor. That's your first block. The next block would be to look at your calendar, find a time that you can fit that into your schedule. The next block, so it's small little building blocks that eventually compound into the outcome that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautifully said, Natalie. Beautifully said. So, where do we begin? We pick a place, right? Everybody who's listening to this now, in the future, choose one tiny little thing, a little space, a little thing that you want to change and alter, and own it. And then step into that commitment and see how that works in the other areas of your life. And remind yourself, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Sure is, Allie. Sure is. And, I know everyone that's listening is listening because they want change, and they want a different outcome in 2024. So listen, it starts within, it starts with you. And we hope today you got some really valuable tips to head into your weekend and change outcomes.
Yeah.
Whether it's maybe take the weekend to reflect on what you want change in, and then we start executing, comes Monday, whatever that looks like for you. But, remember, own your choices, own your life.
Yeah. Right. Your choice, your life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Own your choice, own your life. Right.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. I love our conversation for today. People know where to reach us. Okay. You can hit the link, subscribe, like, comment, share. Let's get the word out there. If this is the year for us to change our thoughts, change our lives, change the way we do one thing. All right. Nat, love you. See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.